Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our special executive level webcast series, and welcome to Autodesk 2013. My name is Laura Guzman. I am Vice President of Marketing here at MicroDesk, and I want to thank you for joining us today as we take a look at the 2013 edition of AutoCAD. In just a moment, I'll be turning it over to today's presenters, but first I want to just go through a couple logistics. In order to minimize any background distractions, you are all on mute for the duration of the session. We will not, unfortunately, have time for a Q&A session today, but if you do have questions, please do feel free to enter them into that questions pane down at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and we will address those one-on-one with you after the session. Also provide our contact information at the end, so if you want to reach out to us separately, please feel free, and we'll absolutely look forward to following up with you. All right. Well, with that, I will turn things over to our first presenter, Mike DeLacy, President of MicroDesk, to kick off our presentation. Mike.
Sorry for the little glitch, folks, but again, welcome to Autodesk 2013. Before we jump into all the great new features of Autodesk 2013, I want to talk just a little bit about MicroDesk. I'm sure many of you are familiar with us. First, we are an Autodesk Gold partner. We are also an Oracle Gold partner, and we specialize in the Primavera contract management, project control suite of software. As of this year, we're proud to announce that we're also Autodesk's North American Channel Partner of the Year, and it's great to get recognition from an organization like Autodesk based on all the work that we're doing in architecture, engineering, construction, and the operations and maintenance market. From a logistical perspective, MicroDesk has 12 offices, 7 on the East Coast that range from southern New Hampshire to Washington, D.C. Our newest office, which is in Chicago, and we have 4 offices in California that are in Irvine, Los Angeles, Fresno, and San Francisco. All told, we're just over 90 consulting specialists and software developers that are exclusively focused on architecture, engineering, construction, and operations and maintenance. When we think about Autodesk's 2013 suite of software, which includes AutoCAD and AutoCAD Architecture 2013, where you'll see some marketing and some advertising from MicroDesk that tries to draw an analogy between the automobile industry and the design software industry. And when we think about the cars that we were driving not too long ago, they were big, they were clunky, they were gas guzzlers, and today, that the technology within automobiles has changed radically to the point where we're driving either hybrid or electric cars that get in excess of 100 miles to the gallon. They're very well integrated and very laden with technology. You think about the fact that we use GPS to navigate our way around. We're streaming, music from the internet into our automobiles. So it's been a really significant gain in technology to improve, our lives and the way that we travel around. We believe the design software, especially with the Autodesk 2013 suite of software, has made a similar gain in technology. And if you compare, what we were doing with AutoCAD, 2009 or 2010, as to what we're able to do now with AutoCAD and AutoCAD Architecture in 2013, we think it's a very similar gain in technology. Again, when you look at the Autodesk 2013 suite of products, the three key takeaways or three compelling things that we found when we looked at the technology was, number one, how well integrated it is. Number two, the interoperability amongst all of these applications and how well they all work together to actually develop a design and construction process that is exponentially better than we've had in the past. And the last one is collaboration. When we add in cloud-based technology and our ability to leverage the cloud to do things, we have significantly increased our ability to collaborate on projects, whether it's internal to our organization with other project participants. We have the ability to push information to the cloud and then access that information from pretty much any device, anywhere, at any time. And that is going to, it's already begun to, but it will continue to radically change the way we go about delivering projects. So with that, I want to introduce Michael Kirk. Michael is a resident architect, AutoCAD Architecture, and Revit Architecture guru, and he's a solution specialist here at MicroDesk. So Mike, with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Mike, and I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar regarding the AutoCAD 2013 product, presenting both AutoCAD and AutoCAD Architecture and the enhancements made within those tools. What we're going to be spending some time today doing is going through the key new features associated with these two pieces of software. We're talking about some of the features within both of those softwares. We can talk about AutoDesk 360, and this is used to gain access to the AutoDesk cloud. Within AutoCAD, we're going to take a look at the in-canvas property tools, which is one of the many workflow enhancement tools used to streamline your workflow. Within AutoCAD Architecture, we have the Rulebook Tool, which is an important tool regarding materials and finishing and scheduling those. And also looking at display component enhancements, which is going to give easier access to valuable display property information. And talking about Autodesk 360, what it does is it enables access to the Autodesk cloud, which will allow for drawing and setting sharing and collaboration with other users within an office, as well as having the capabilities to work with mobile users taking advantage of the AutoCAD WS app. Enhancements have been made to the CAD Manager Utility so that access to the sharing and syncing can still be controlled within your organizational environment. So it will be in a very beneficial way. Add this to the changes that have been made to the Content Explorer and Autodesk Exchange, and you'll begin to see how Autodesk has given great thought to enhancing the business communication side of these programs. Looking at AutoCAD 2013, the in-canvas property tool in AutoCAD 2013, you can dynamically preview changes to object properties before actually applying them. For example, if you select objects and then use the Properties palette to change the color, the selected objects will dynamically change color as you pass the cursor over each color in the list or within a Select Color dialog box. This is also going to work with layers when you're switching layers, switching objects to different layers. You're going to be able to preview those changes. Also, object transparency is another property that can be changed dynamically. As you can see within the options, you're going to be able to control whether or not that property preview is actually activated. In AutoCAD Architecture, you can use the Rulebook tool to calculate and export room quantities, define and apply surface materials, and define global calculation settings. The Rulebook tool enables multiple finishes to be applied per surface, then calculates these surfaces, walls, floors, ceilings, as well as room circumference and furnishing elements for enhanced room documentation. You can define the global calculation settings, and by using the spaces and zones in AutoCAD Architecture 2013, it will enable you to define surface material types and apply them to rooms. You can create a detailed schedule more easily within AutoCAD Architecture for each surface, as well as export that data to Microsoft Excel or a DWF file to use within Autodesk Quantity Takeoff 2012 or 2013 for cost estimating. The display component enhancements that have been made within AutoCAD Architecture 2013, it introduces the layer key, layer overrides, and transparency as new display properties. This is going to allow you to, these new overrides and display properties dialog box, and layer key per display component and transparency control. These will enable the layer display property to inherit the layer name from the current layer key style. This will offer more flexibility for creating drawing templates. This should allow for templates to be devoid of the hard-coded layer names that were present before. The display properties dialog box has the capability to display all the components and control the visibility of specific components in the drawing. You can also set the display component to inherit the layer name from the current key style to provide a cleaner and more organized set of documentation. New transparency controls for individual display components is also being introduced. A new transparency column is added to the display properties editor in the properties palette display tab. This enables more control in cases such as creating handicap clearances, and if you would like to just define transparency control to an AEC object. So now I'm just going to jump into the software and show how these tools can work within a hypothetical workflow. So first thing I want to do is jump out to the cloud and download one of the drawings that you may have in your cloud area. So I'm going to download this drawing, save it to my local drive. That drawing is now going to be saved to my local drive. I'm going to minimize the internet for the cloud base because I'm going to have to go back there later on. And I'm going to open up the drawing, navigate to that file. And as you can see, this is the file that we've downloaded from the internet. This is a combination of both AutoCAD Architecture elements and AutoCAD elements. So we'll see how they both work together. First thing I'm going to do is freeze some of the walls that we have in here, showing you where those walls, the layers that those walls are on. Taking a look at some of the layers where the line work and the doors that I need are not really on the proper layers. Just kind of letting you know what layer the doors need to be on, what layer the walls need to be on. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to freeze my spaces so it's going to give me a clear shot at the objects that I actually need to change. And zooming into my area here where I'm going to change these objects. Select my doors. And navigating over to my properties palette, I can hit the pull down for the layers. You'll see as I scroll over these layers, the doors are going to change to those layers. But we need to go all the way down to the doors. Now all those objects are automatically changed to the door layer, seeing that they're matching up with another object that was already on the door layer. And I want to do that same thing with my walls. Highlighting the line work that's for those walls. Going back to my properties palette, you see now doing that same thing, scrolling through, but we need to go all the way down to the walls. Again, so now all my objects have the appropriate layer associated with them. Now that I've done that, I can go back and start looking at the rest of what I need to do, like applying the spaces and looking at the spaces so that I can move toward the Rulebook Tool. So I'm going to turn my space layer back on. And we have a few areas that still need to have the spaces applied to them. Go to my tool palette, and I'm going to bring in a couple of a conference room, making sure that it's generating so I can automatically get those spaces generated. So I dropped in a couple of conference rooms. I'm going to go back, and now I'm going to drop in an office medium. Now we've dropped in quite a few of these spaces. And looking at the properties of those spaces, if I scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see that it gives me the ability to go to my room book area, which is a new area of the properties palette, change my surface material types to custom. And if I had other standards inside of here for my material styles, I could change there, but we're just going to go with standard here. Also, if I scroll up a little bit more, what you'll see is I can go into the Space and Zone Manager, get a list of all those finished areas within these individual rooms, both showing me walls that have openings in them, giving me the materials of those openings, walls that don't have openings in them. So you can kind of scroll through, like my south wall doesn't actually have any openings in there, so you'll see the materials for that. So I could do that either directly from the Properties palette, or you'll see in my ribbon tabs, you'll see the Space and Zone Manager, which is going to give me the same thing, but on a more generic sense and not actually approaching one particular zone. Now, I can go to my Rulebook Tool, which is a new tab inside of the ribbons. Go in and check out my calculation settings. Right now, it's at the international standard. If we had one that we wanted to change to, you can see what we have listed here. The DOB standard for Germany, but we're going to stick with the international standard. If I wanted to make any changes as far as how my interferences are going to be seen, any body modifiers that I might have added to walls, how they're going to be seen. And now I can go in and take a look at, do I want to edit any of the room surfaces that are here? My source is custom, and I can go in and get a list of all the materials based on the materials that are loaded within my project. Select if I'm looking at wall surfaces, if I wanted to look at floor surfaces, maybe I want to change that room surface to maybe a wood flooring, add that to the list, remove what's going to be considered the standard, and now that becomes the material used for those rooms. And I want to do something a little more global. Make it concrete across the board, and that's going to be what's going to be listed. You can see how easily maneuverable that dialog box is. It's going to allow me to apply any materials. So I want to go in and say it's by object, it's custom. It'll give me a list of all the rooms that are in my project. If you take a look on the left-hand side, if we actually went through and tagged these and assigned room numbers to them, you would see those room numbers listed there, but we haven't gone through and done that. So we're just going by space style names and space names. Now what this dialog is showing me, well, do I actually want to show those room IDs after I do calculate the room quantities? That's a decision we can make. So you see a lot of the things that we listed, showing me the amount of spaces that I have here. If there are any objects in here that I don't want it to schedule, I can just uncheck those boxes. I can choose how it's going to, what format any kind of exporting is going to do, and I can run it and calculate. You can see in the lower left-hand corner, it's running through those calculations. We'll just kind of let that run through. Now I can actually view those results. If there's anything that I need to edit, I can go through, pick one of my rooms. It'll give me that wall face, give me what those finishes are for those particular faces. If there's anything that I need to change, I can go in and change. Go in and look at my floor surfaces, and you see this is what we assigned. That's the material that we kind of globally assigned across them. Picking a different room and seeing all the wall surfaces. And you'll see as I go through, it'll tell me what, if any of these wall surfaces, their materials are, if there was any openings associated with them. It'll give me what the areas of those particular objects are, and the tag and the IDs that are going to be associated with them when we close out of this dialog box if we chose to show the room IDs, the finish IDs. It's kind of navigating through, showing you a couple of other places where it's showing. If we had ceilings in here, we would go through and assigning those. I'm just going to hit OK out of this. And now we can take all this information that we have in here and export it. You see, using that template that we have, I can then go in and export this out to the Excel document, and it's going to generate that document for me. See, if you're looking at the bottom of the screen, along those tabs, you're going to see each of those tabs that it's going to be generating information for. Giving us a full report on everything that we've done within our Rulebook tool. Save that file. And now I can close out in OK, and it'll tag all of the rooms with the finish IDs that we looked at inside of the Rulebook tool. Any tags that we need to move around, we can start adjusting them, giving us something a little bit more of a better aesthetic feel with all of our tags within the drawing. Saving our file, because now that we've done all of this, what our next step is going to be is to now be able to share this file back with everyone on the design team, both in the office, outside of the office, anyone who has access to our Autodesk 360 account. So I can take both that Excel file in our AutoCAD Architecture, AutoCAD file, hybrid, and load them back up to the cloud. And you see, those are both of our drawings, both our Excel file and our drawings being loaded back up to the cloud, ready for any kind of sharing. If I wanted to start sharing them on the left-hand side of my screen, you'll see that anything that I want to share, it'll be listed under that folder. And if someone wanted to access this through AutoCAD WS, they'd be able to do so. So kind of reviewing what we just saw with the key features of AutoCAD 2013. We've looked at our access to Autodesk 360, which is the Autodesk Cloud, our in-canvas property tools, which is going to be great for maneuvering and manipulating our AutoCAD geometry, and going through and looking at our Rulebook tool, which is going to allow us to schedule our objects, schedule our finishes within our spaces that we've created inside of our AutoCAD architecture drawings. And although we looked at the in-canvas properties tool, the display components enhancements will allow you to do some of those same things within the display properties, because you now don't have to drill down inside of the style manager and the display configurations to make some of the changes that you would have had to do with those tools. So I hope that gives you a pretty good idea of some of the things that you can do both within the program and collaboratively outside of the program, sharing your tools with other users and other members of the industry. With that, I think I'm going to pass it back to Mike, and I thank you for your time.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Great job. So, I think that some of the examples you showed show that, AutoCAD 2013 has simplified, some of the documentation processes, and certainly a combination of AutoCAD with AutoCAD Architecture allow us to go beyond documentation and kind of going into managing, a lot of the information that we create using AutoCAD and AutoCAD Architecture. I did want to talk real briefly about the suites. So AutoCAD and AutoCAD Architecture are included in the Building Design Suite Standard, Premium, and Ultimate. There are also AutoCAD is also included in the Infrastructure Design Suite Standard, Premium, and Ultimate. So, we always have access to the tools that we need when we're working with suites. Before I get into some of the logistics, I did want to touch just real quickly on Mike showed, being able to push information to the cloud and being able to pull information from the cloud. I think some of the important pieces of that, Mike mentioned AutoCAD WS is also design review, but the whole idea is to make that information available where and when we need it on almost any device. So Mike mentioned AutoCAD WS, which is AutoCAD Workspace, which allows us to actually run AutoCAD on a device, including something like an iPad, out in the field whenever we wanted it. So by pushing the Rulebook tool information or drawing an Excel sheet up to the cloud means that now when I'm walking through my space, I have access to all of that information on an iPad, on a Droid-type device, potentially even on an iPhone. So again, the distribution of information will allow us to streamline a lot of processes. If you're interested in more information on AutoCAD 2013 or AutoCAD Architecture 2013, please check out microdesk.com for webcasts that will be scheduled in May. If you want more immediate information, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can get us at the phone number you see on your screen there, and also at info@microdesk.com. Again, the three most compelling things, from our perspective about Autodesk's 2013 suite of products is, very well integrated, lots of interoperability, and the collaboration nature of cloud technology. Some of the other things that you'll find in the cloud technology is the ability to do cloud-based rendering. If you haven't checked that out, I highly recommend it. As well as when you move into more of the vertical products, the ability to do energy analysis and structural analysis, all by taking advantage of the cloud computing power. With that, I want to thank everybody for attending. We appreciate you spending some time with us today. We look forward to working with you in the future, and have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.